I were president, you would have never been attacked because Iran was broke. They had no money. China couldn't buy oil from them because otherwise China wouldn't be able to deal with the United States. I said to China, I said to many nations, 47 nations, I spoke to many of them personally, if you buy oil from Iran, you will not do any business in the United States, and we're going to tariff your products. And Iran did almost no oil business, you know that. Nobody would buy oil because of me. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for anybody. And now they're sitting with $221 billion in cash, and they control Iraq, which has $300 billion in cash. Stupidly, the United States went in and blew everything up. You know, you had two countries that were sort of equal in power, and one of them got blown up by the United States, and now Iran has a big advantage in the Middle East over a lot of other countries. When I saw October 7th, it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen because there was no reason for it. They would have never, ever done that. For two reasons. Number one, they were broke, and number two, I was the president. They would have never done that because they knew there would have been very big consequences. All right. That being said, you have to finish up your war. You have to finish it up. You got to get it done. And I'm sure you'll do that. And we got to get to peace. You can't have this going on. And I will say, Israel has to be very careful because you're losing a lot of the world. You're losing a lot of support. But you have to finish up, you have to get the job done, and you have to get on to peace. Well, look, there has been...
Guys, by the way, just want to point out how not brigaded this is, okay? How definitely not brigaded this subreddit is. Hasan talks about how his friends began reaching out for concern over his life after Destiny and Twitter take his Discord messages out of context again. 57 upvotes, 479 comments. Guys, they certainly are not brigading this thing like crazy. Certainly not. 479 comments, 57 upvotes. They swarm. Maybe there's good conversation happening. Yeah, totally. They swarm that like flies the shit, dude. This is why Reddit is so funny and it's like so easily abused. People think that like Reddit is a great place for genuine discourse, and it's like, no, you can literally just like brigade anyone that says something reasonable. Anyone that says something reasonable, you could just like just silence it. It is how you arrive at like incredible hug boxes. Trump is better on Israel Palestine than Biden and will be elected this year. Proof. Here, watch this. Trump has been saying like, Israel, you got to stop it. You're losing support. He keeps saying that. The irony is Trump glazing Israel so hard and cutting Palestinian aid probably accelerated the inevitability of something occurring. Oh, 100%. Trump's Abraham Accords is literally almost directly responsible for October 7. Yeah, 100%. He's just as at fault as Netanyahu.
No president better to Israel than me. Iran wanted to make a deal, and with the deal, 90% of the deal that I want to make is no nuclear weapon. I'm a very loyal person. I've been loyal to Israel. I've been the best president in history by a factor of 10 to Israel because of all the things I do. The embassy, Jerusalem being the capital, the best location for the embassy, and getting the embassy built. But then you have Abraham Accords, and then you have Golan Heights.
I want to show with you a question that in our minds, every leader in the world should reply. How would you react if, God forbid, it was your children or grandchildren who were kidnapped by Hamas or suffering the horrors that so many Israelis were going through on October 7?
On October 7, I would say I would act very much the same way as you did. You have to be crazy not to. Only a fool would not do that. That was a horrible attack. But it was an attack that I blame on Biden because they have no respect for him. He can't put two sentences together. He can't talk. He's a very dumb person. He's a dumb person. You're in a very dangerous neighborhood.
They're like, yeah.
And with Iran getting a nuclear weapon, once they have a nuclear weapon, you'll be speaking to...
It's so weird. I've never seen this country glaze another country like this until now. Dude, come on, bro. That's Israel, dog. That's not another country. That's us. That's more... When Trump is glazing Israel, he's basically glazing America. That's it. That's the difference. That's... Like, we don't see Israel as a separate country. We see it as a state, and an important state, not like a shitty state. Trump will have the smoke for Wyoming. He'll shit on like Alabama. He'll shit on Wyoming. He'll never shit on Israel. He'll be like, Israel's the greatest. He's a beacon. The democracy, I love it. I love it. It's the best.
To them a lot differently than you're speaking right now. They would have never had a nuclear weapon with me. They understood that. They would never have
And
had.
they will not have a nuclear weapon with you if you are re-elected?
They will never have a nuclear weapon, no. But you have a long time to go. They could have a nuclear weapon in 35 days, right? I have 7 months to go and 9 months to take office. A lot of bad things can happen in that. You know, that's a lot. That's like an eternity. 7 months in this world, and especially in the Middle East, where it's so combative and so combustible. And this would be a time, if we had a real president, if we had a president that knew what he was doing, that could put two sentences together, that could get solved very quickly.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
President, thank you very much for
Thank
this
you.
interview.
Thank you both.
All right, this morning, CNN is hearing from Larry David on what he thinks about Donald Trump.
Oh, my
Chris
God.
Wallace had a fascinating conversation with him.
It can't go a day.
I like that Trump is it's not a strong suit to just like string words together. He's not very good at that. And yet he's still out here popping off like he is, you know? I can put the best words together, the best.
Without thinking about what he's done to this country, because he's such a little baby that he's thrown 250 years of democracy out the window by not accepting the results.
He's such
of
a
the, I
lib.
mean, it's so crazy. He's such a sociopath. He's so insane. He just couldn't admit to losing. And we know he lost. He knows he lost. And look how he's fooled everybody. He's convinced all these people that he didn't lose. He's such a sick man. He's so sick. Anyway, no, it hasn't impacted me at all.
That's the quintessential Larry David right there. The full conversation streams tomorrow on Who's Talking to Chris Wallace. With me now, CNN senior a senior data reporter.
Whatever you want,
There's
man.
just a lot of words they threw in
Why
there.
don't you put chief in there?
CNN chief data reporter, I'm going to get in trouble for that, Harry Etten, it's great to see you. Look, what Larry David was talking about there is election denialism, which is very much in the news this week. The RNC now reportedly with a litmus test asking people, did Donald Trump actually lose the election? Talk to us about what the polls are saying about this idea of election denialism.
Yeah, you know, if we look on Republicans, right? Republicans on Biden's 2020 win, legitimate. Let's go back to December of 2021. 39% said it was legitimate. 58% said it was illegitimate. Jump to December of 2023. Those opinions have not in any way shifted towards the actual truth. They have actually strayed further into the untruth. Now, 67% of Republicans believe that the 2020 election was illegitimate. Of course, they are on Fantasy Island. Everything that we know from the real data said that election was legitimate.
The real Fantasy Island is thinking that there is no 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour when there is one. Oh my God. Can she say that? Can she say that? Okay. Okay. Respect. That's good. She got the smoke. Her Tesla is going to shut off suspiciously. Pretty sure he's also a visa overstayer, so he was an undocumented immigrant at a certain point as well. So before people go, he's actually a legal immigrant, like, no, he is much like the 52% of undocumented immigrants in this country, a fucking visa overstayer. Just making sure that people understand. There was some issues with his immigration when he got kicked out of one of his colleges that he attended. Why she got a Tesla? He's such a cell phone. I agree.
Yet Republicans are on this Fantasy Island.
Some of that seems to be correlated to what they're watching on TV, yes?
Yes. So this to me, I love digging deep into the crosstabs and finding something interesting. Republicans who believe the 2020 election was legitimate. If you're a mainstream media follower, let's say you're watching NBC News, if you're a Republican, 58% of those folks believe the election was legitimate. But if you're following conservative media, look this, just 23% believe.
Oh my God, fuck this shit. No way. Joe Rogan. They lost Joe Rogan.
Hey, I want to know what she was fired for. Because was it criticism of Israel? Was it, I mean, did she show that Edward Snowden video that he put up on Twitter that shows them drone bombing those kids that are, those men, I should say, unarmed people that were walking towards the rubble?
No, I do think that Candace Owens, dude, God, look. There's a correct way to talk about this, which Elk Man is not going to do. Ape Man is not going to do the correct way to talk about this. Candace Owens is definitely an anti-Semite. Make no fucking mistake. Turkish commie trust fund baby. Nice. You suck, Nepo baby, fake commie Turkish trust fund baby. Bro, why'd you ban him? He's got such good takes. I'm unbanning that guy. I want to hear more from him. Yeah, he fit all of those big words in there. I'm proud of him. Candace Owens, definitely anti-Semitic. He's not coming back to the light. Come on, this is just a broken clock being right once, twice a day. Yeah, I don't care. I care about the influence that he holds over a massive audience. It's actually dope that he's like still saying Israel is undoubtedly committing a genocide, because his hogs that literally cling on every little word that he says will come to that. The fuck? He popping off, dude. I like that Candace Owens being fired is what caught him to fucking say this. Joe Rogan outflanking the vast majority of Dems from the left. Yeah. Right after that, he shits on SJW Palestine protesters. Nice, of course. You got to do a little column A, column B, dude. Would you still do his pod? I would do his pod any day of the week. I don't care what his fucking takes are. Like, I don't give a shit. I would love to go on his podcast. It's a massive platform. There's this part that I wanted to talk about as well. The NBC caving the liberal host and firing Ronna McDaniels, which was insane move, by the way, by NBC to just like hire Ronna McDaniels. Was so psychotic. Why the fuck did they think that that would be valid to do?
I think you could be doing things at the same time.
NBC dropping former RNC chair Ronna McDaniel as a paid contributor. The move comes less than a week after her hiring was announced.
And
crows before bros. Fun crow fact. If you want to befriend a crow, please do not feed them any salted meats or bread. Salt causes neurological degradation in birds, and bread has no nutritional value. If you want to support your local murder, you can feed them unsalted peanuts and hard-boiled scrambled eggs. You see a crow with avian pox, stop feeding them for a few weeks to stop the spread of the virus. Thank you for the fun crow facts.
Ronna McDaniel reportedly exploring other legal.
I've actually never seen a crow and been like, damn, I really want to feed that fucking thing. Just like very strange. I've never been like, oh man, I really want to feed that bird. But also, I do feel like if I had a salty treat in my hand and the situation demanded it, I probably would have, before this fun crow fact, I probably would have fed the crow the salty treat, not realizing that it will cause neurological disorders within the crow. So thank you for this fun crow fact. If I am walking down the street and I am overcome with emotions and want to feed a crow, I will make sure that the snack that I'm feeding it is not a salty one.
Legal options after finding out about the termination through media reports.
Lucas Tomlinson joins us live from D.C. with more. Lucas, fill us in.
Good morning, guys. It appears the entire NBC network was against McDaniel's hiring, many anchors sounding off in lockstep, including President Biden's former press secretary.
When NBC made the decision to give her NBC News' credibility, you got to ask yourself, what does she bring NBC News?
This is about truth versus lies. Ronna McDaniel has been a major peddler of the big lie.
What we've also said to election deniers is not just they can do that on our airwaves, but that they can do that as one of us, as paid contributors to our sacred airwaves.
I find the decision to put her on the payroll inexplicable, and I hope they will reverse their decision.
Jen Psaki also warned democracy was in danger after McDaniel was hired. Last night on Special Report, Hugh Hewitt predicted McDaniel will sue NBC for breach of contract and intentional infliction of mental distress, he said. The chairman of NBC Universal issued a mea culpa while announcing the termination of McDaniel. Quote, no organization, particularly a newsroom, can succeed unless it is cohesive and aligned. Over the last few days, it has become clear that this appointment undermines that goal. I want to personally apologize to our team members who felt we let them down. While this was a collective recommendation by some members of our leadership team, I approved it and take full responsibility for it. So there you have it, guys. The network appeared completely...
I just don't understand why they did this. Like, what benefit does Ronna McDaniels offer NBC? It basically shows me that like even MSNBC and NBC across the board is still like on that right wing tip. I thought that MSNBC was like trying to be more progressive, retriangulating for a Trump second term, whereas like CNN was leaning into the right wing heel turn and basically suffering as a consequence of that. But nope, all these fucking dumbass liberal boomer executives are still so stupid that they're like, no, it's probably good. Probably good to have like the former fundraising chair of the RNC
aligned against hiring Ronna McDaniel, which, Steve, is a big contrast to when Marie Harf was hired here at Fox. Remember your nice warm welcome.
Absolutely. And of course, we also hired Donna Brazil at Fox. We've got all the voices, but thank you very much, Lucas.
Thanks,
but
Lucas.
what it shows to a lot of people, if you want all the news, are you thinking, okay, if I go over to NBC or MSNBC, am I going to get the political viewpoint of people who are conservative or Republican or supporters of Trump? Given what has happened over the last 48 hours, you got to wonder.
Yeah, I just can't believe the Nicole Wallace quote where she said, you can't be one of us with our badge and be on our sacred airways.
Dude, that's so funny. There's hella fucking Republicans on NBC's payroll, dumbasses. They're just mad that this is like objectively an insane Republican that is like openly said the exact opposite things that they talk about as far as the big lie. It is technically consistent for them to be like, yeah, we don't want this person. It's odd that they don't consider that there could be like genuine lines that they have drawn. It makes their coverage, their prior coverage of the big lie, ridiculous. It makes them inconsistent. Maybe some of those hosts do actually believe in the severity of promoting election conspiracies, you know? Is Hasan coming to Brisbane? Nor.
Do you know how pretentious that sounds?
In every way, I did find it fascinating that you can decide what management should have done and criticize them.
Your
and then
boss.
still have a job. Because, I mean, you could have an opinion, but that's maybe for the water cooler. That's right. And that could be problematic. I don't care. Imagine being in a small restaurant, you don't like the drink menu, and you go, okay, I'm either going to take my apron off or I'm going to keep serving the drinks. You know, you have to decide. There's people that hire you, but I guess it's okay because they apologize. So I guess Chuck Todd will be interviewing other contributors throughout the week.
But Brian, at its core, I hope that it's a message to Republicans that no matter what you do, it will be never enough until you say that you're never Trump. That is the red line for the people there, because Ronna McDaniel, as you saw in the interview, changed her position on some things, tried to be a little bit more palatable for NBC, but it was never enough. And she was asked to apologize to the country on air, but they never asked any of the Democrats that objected. You got Jim McGovern, who objected to the Alabama votes. Jamie Raskin objected to the Florida votes. Jayapal objected to the Georgia votes. So when they're brought on NBC, are they asked to apologize to the country? It's just such a double standard when it comes to the liberal opinion versus Republican
For 4
opinion.
years, Hillary Clinton said that Donald Trump's an illegitimate president, and he knows it. They all said the Russian
Stacey
situation,
Abrams.
the laptop.
Stacey Abrams.
So why are you letting someone on the air who said the laptop?
Okay, dude. Didn't Nicole Wallace advocate for the invasion of Iraq by peddling a WMD hoax that killed like 1 million people? Why don't they care about her? Why doesn't she cross the line? I don't think you guys understand. The lines are stupid. They're busted. There are no real valid lines. This is just one of them, I guess, because it's like the thing that they care about right now. Have you had shapes yet? Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I also did a TikTok. Let me see if I can like get to my TikTok without signing in.
Check.
I did at the Cold One Studio. I did another taste test.
I'm back on my Australian snack review taste test. Okay, we got Grain Waves by Some Bites.